Well, good morning and good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us at Need4Viz for our latest webinar in our series of webinars. This one entitled 60 Days with SAP Business Objects BI 2025. What's new, what's missing, and some of the expert insights. It is our goal today to share with you some of the things that we have learned about BI 2025 in the last 60 days since it has been released. But before we can move forward, let me introduce just a few people. We have Jerome and Jean-Bernard in our French office in Paris, who are going to be monitoring things in the background. On camera with me is Dallas Marks, our senior consultant extraordinaire, and myself is Warren. I'm going to be your host throughout this. However, you're going to be listening to mostly Dallas today share his insights and our insights at Need4Viz about BI 2025. Now, before we get into this, I just wanted to make mention, and I've done this on a few webinars in the past, that Need4Viz is a platinum sponsor at this year's IBIS 2025 conference, then and now. This really is the conference and the place to go as far as Business Objects is concerned. As you know, very little is said at any of the sapphires around Business Objects any longer, and this is definitely the show to go to. If you have not registered for this show, I encourage you to do so, to take a look at it, to take a look at the agenda. We will be doing a number of presentations, and again, we're very happy to be this year's platinum sponsor. So let's talk about why we're here. As you can see, we have a full list of things to do today on our agenda. First off was the introductions. We've kind of done that. When I talk next about the webinar goal, we're going to talk about some housekeeping items. Then we're going to go right into the meat of our presentation around SAP BI 2025, do a live demo around that. Then we're going to talk about Need4Viz and how we work with BI 2025, do a live demo there, and then we'll wrap up, talk about some resources, and then do some Q&A. Let's get to today's webinar goal. So after 60 days of hands-on testing, we have some thoughts. Dallas has some insight, and having used it for 2 months, we want to share that with you. And that really is the crux of our webinar today. So let's talk about some housekeeping items just as we get started. As you can see, most of you or all of you are on mute, except for Dallas and myself. That's for a reason. We're expecting a fairly large crowd today to share this information with. And we want to keep that to any chat or any music or anything that's going on in the background to a minimum. We are going to take an hour of your time today, so I'm going to kind of rushing through as we go through here because we want to get to the meat of this and get Dallas started. But we are going to take an hour of your time today. We would like you to put your questions in the chat. We have done this before. It's been very successful. We will take your questions, put them into the PowerPoint presentation, and answer them towards the end. We were going to try to do that with about 10 minutes at the end. And as well as there will be a replay or the recording of this webinar will be listed on our website, as well as those of you who have attended will also receive a link after this webinar once we've received that from our provider. All right, so SAP BI 2025, what's new and what's missing? As you're aware, and as we have outlined in previous webinars, there are really 5 new features within BI 2025, as you can see, pardon me, around the blue circle there. And right now, I would like to reintroduce Dallas Marks and pass this presentation to him to give us his thoughts on these new features within BI 2025. Dallas.
Yeah, thank you, Warren. So the big news in BI 2025, there are several key things that we want to talk about and also demonstrate for you. The first thing is an enhanced user experience. So for those of you who are on 4.3, which I think is most Business Objects customers at this point, you may have noticed that the main panel shifted from the left, where they had been for a long time, over to the right-hand side of the screen. And so they are still there. They have received some thoughtful updates, but the big news is what SAP has introduced now on the left side of the design panel, and that is a new panel called the Quick Access Side Panel. And so it has 3 tabs, and it really makes it easy to do one-click operations to get at 3 things: your data sources, such as building a query, your report elements, so the gallery of classic charts, the new UI5 charts, as well as custom elements like Need4Viz widgets. And then lastly, layouts. And layouts is interesting because this is the first release of the platform that has canvas sizes in addition to paper sizes. So really a reflection of how web intelligence is modernizing and is becoming a tool for dashboard creation, not just report creation. Another key innovation is the introduction of UI5 elements. So these are shared with other products in the SAP arsenal. And these are largely intended to support the new Web Intelligence Document Extract or WIDX feature. And they largely overlap what is already in part of you're familiar with the classic charts. There are some notable new additions, such as a scrollable table. Scrolling definitely important for dashboarding. There's a rich text cell editor, and there's a number of other ones that we'll be showing you today. There's also navigation elements, and if you want to take advantage of the WIDX, you need to design a report around these UI5 elements and not the classic elements. Okay, next feature. So WIDX. So this goes hand in hand with the new UI5 components. And so you can see here a nice example of a dashboard that has both some visual elements, some that we're not used to seeing in Web Intelligence, but also notice at the top there's navigation elements. So this particular dashboard, you can see that it can be filtered by year, and there's some sliders and drop downs, and so there's a full array of navigation elements that now can be added to the canvas in anticipation of the dashboard being exported as WIDX. Okay, next slide, please. There's also just throughout the user interface a lot of thoughtful updates. You can now customize the tooltip, and that tooltip can actually be another web intelligence report. So it can be a whole tab, or it can also be just a single chart. And so that's a pretty neat feature, and so we're going to be demonstrating that for you shortly. We've already talked about the new canvas sizes, and these are largely intended to support standard desktop sizes as well as tablet and mobile device sizes. The geographical database has been updated with the latest version of the HERE database, but it should be noted that the geographical charts, these are largely the same charts that we've had in previous versions of Web Intelligence. And then lastly, we have a new capability that you can pin custom tiles onto your Be On Launchpad. And so you can take a chart, for example, that you've created either with classic or UI5 charting elements, and those can be pinned directly to the homepage, so you can see KPIs at a glance, and the report that supports that KPI is just one click away. Some other changes is in the DataMode, and so I'm going to be showing you a demo of DataMode in just a moment. This was introduced in 4.3 SP3 and kind of warmed over for BI 4.3 SP4. And so this is the DataMode that you have been hoping for. And some of the new features are the ability to have transformations based on formulas. You can now have local variables. They've added a couple of join operators that were missing from the previous versions. And there's just some really nice UI productivity, just shortcuts in menus that are really thoughtful. If you're unfamiliar with DataMode, DataMode brings data cleansing and data blending features directly into Web Intelligence. And so this is a pretty extraordinary evolution and modernization of Web Intelligence, because these are capabilities that we're used to finding in competitors' tools, and some competitors you actually have to reach outside of the main dashboarding tool and potentially to another vendor to have these kind of capabilities. So these are baked directly into Web Intelligence, and it's really massive update in support of all the other features.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dallas. So Dallas has just kind of reviewed what's new, and what we'd like to do right now is launch right into a demo of BI 2025, talking about those new features. So Dallas, if you'd like to take my screen.
Thank you, Warren. Okay, so we'd like to show you first the data mode in BI 2025. And so what I'm going to show you here, I've already got a document where I've brought in a trusty eFashion query from a UNX universe, of course. And we still have the two main panels over on the right-hand side of the screen, but over on the left, you'll notice that we have the new quick access panel. And so even in data mode, and for data mode, it lists all of my data sources. And so this provides a really fast way to get to the different types of data sources. And I'm going to bring in a second data provider. So I'd like to compute the sales tax that we collect at eFashion. And so that is something that is not normally part of the eFashion universe. And sales tax is something that typically not only varies with state, but it also varies with the city that you belong to or are shopping in. And so I'm going to bring in this data from my spreadsheet, and let's just rename this. So I'm going to call this sales tax just so I can keep track of it. Now, when you work with Excel, it brings in the data in anything numeric is brought in as a measure, which may not be what you want. And so I'm going to very quickly convert these sales tax numbers into dimensions. And now that I have that, my data has been prepped. I need to refresh it. Okay, and you can see here now I have a second cube in data mode, and I would like to blend it with the data from the eFashion universe. So I'm just going to drag and drop one cube on top of the other. And I'm really confident in the cleanliness of my data. So even though I've got a lot of different joins, different join possibilities, I am going to do a full inner join on state and city. And that creates a new blended cube that now includes all of the eFashion data, but also my my sales tax percentages. All right, so I'm ready to create a couple of variables in data mode. And the first one that I'm going to create is sales tax. And this is simply the sales revenue multiplied by the sales tax rate I brought in from my spreadsheet. And we can see that in the facet view up here. So I'm able to, kind of validate that the calculation is doing what I expect. And I'm going to add a second variable. And I'd like to create a variable for charitable contributions. If I can spell charitable today. And this is basically, I'd like to create a calculation, eFashion, we like giving back to the community. And so all the sales during the month of December or month 12, we are going to give 1% of our earnings. Otherwise, it will not. Okay, and I want to make sure that these are measure calculations. I need to set that manually, and also need to remember a multiplication symbol. Okay, so I'm going to validate my formula. That looks good. Okay, and I just need to make sure that my sales tax, I should have made that a measure as well.
So tell us why you're doing that. Why is it important to make these variables measures instead of dimensions?
Yep. So it's a key step because I want these, the amount of revenue or the amount of charity, I want that to be able to aggregate with whatever data I'm projecting on the table. And so these calculations need to be measures so that they have that automatic aggregate behavior.
Okay, thank you.
And you can see here, so I've got my sales tax computed for every row, my charitable contributions. That only pops up when it's December. So I've successfully brought in a second data provider. I've blended it together. I've created some calculations, which that's a new feature in BI 2025 data mode. Huge enhancement. And so now I'm ready to go over to design mode. And now I'd like to show you the new tooltip feature. Okay, so I'm going to begin. So once again, my quick access panel, it has all of my charting elements. So it has all of the regular elements. Those are in kind of an reddish orange color. The new UI5 components are in blue. And you can even see here, I have a whole collection of custom elements from Need4Viz as part of our N4V for WEBI solution. So everything is right there and easy to get to. And you can also keep track of favorites. So again, just a lot of thoughtful touches throughout the user interface to help you save time. Okay, so I'm going to bring in just a column widget. I'm going to use the new UI5 components. I could also use classic components for this tooltip feature. And notice that we've now got on-screen buttons, so a lot less right-clicking, a lot less navigating to other panels. And so from here, I can go right to assign data. And so for this chart, I'm going to show the state and the sales revenue. Okay, and so that renders, and I also have the property setting here. So again, just really quick access to the different features. So I'm just going to say that this is going to be my sales revenue by state, and I'm going to turn off the legend, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you. Okay, so I've got a really nice start there. If I hover over the bars, I get really nice tooltips. Okay, so I'd like to create a second chart that is going to become the tooltip for this chart. And so I'm going to create a bar chart. Okay, and once again, I'm going to map the data. And for this example, I'm going to show the, I'm going to do it by store. And I'd also like to see the sales tax that I've created. At least I think I'm going to see the sales tax that I've created. Okay, and I'm not going to wait for that. So I've created two charts, and I'm going to just do quickly a Martha Stewart, and okay. So after a little bit of delay there, Apologies for that. All right, so this is going to be my sales tax chart. I'm going to get rid of the legend here as well, and I'm going to blow up this chart as well. And now I'm ready to link. And so I'm going to go over to my parent chart, and I'm simply going to right click and choose Edit Tooltip. So the default tooltip is the hovered value, and I have the choice to pick either an entire report or I can pick just a particular report element. And so I'm going to pick a report element, and now when I hover or click on a data point in reading mode, it brings up the whole chart. And so you can see here just a little taste of the possibilities. My second chart, it's looking at a different layer of aggregation. I'm looking at by city instead of by state. And I'm also looking at a different measure, sales tax. So that is a pretty extraordinary capability. There's my Texas values. Okay, I want to be sure to save this, and you want to save your document first before you attempt to pin something to the BI Launchpad. It needs a permanent location, and so once I've saved, you'll notice that in reading mode, I've got an icon just right here on the floating toolbar to pin the block. And I can have a maximum of 5 KPIs pinned, and so that's a warning letting me know that, and that's perfectly fine because I've staged this just so I can show you some of the other capabilities. And so I have 5 charts here, just showing you a variety of the charts. They're going to take a little moment here to refresh. So some of these are the classic charts. Some of these are new UI5 charts. And here the large tile, this is my tooltip example. And we'll wait for this to pop up. And I can hover or click from here. And I'm also able to, wait for it, bring up my, there we go, there's my tooltip. So this is really great. I can now have tooltips, KPIs on the homepage to show me a quick glance of information that I need. And really from here, the report that's behind it is just a single click away. All right, so that's just a brief tour of DataMode and some of the features in BI 2025, and I'm going to send this back to Warren.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dallas. So Dallas has done a great job of showing you some of the features and the functionality of those major components that were added to BI 2025 and enhanced. What we wanted to talk about now is some of the limitations. With everything that good has come about within BI 2025, there are some things that have been deprecated and some limitations with features and functionality. So Dallas, if you'd like to review that for us.
Certainly. And so these are not only limitations that we've noted. These are limitations that have come with the release notes, and you can see in the footer here. This all comes from Christian Assoon's blog about BI 2025 and its new features. So talking about the report elements, these again are to support the new widgets. Document extract format for web intelligence. So there are, unfortunately, there's no drill capability in the components. So and the filter in the table in this particular release isn't filterable. There's also not a entirely new selection of widgets. There are a handful. But there are some charts like the age pyramid that our customers are constantly asking us for, and that's why it's part of the suite. And also, as we mentioned before, they've updated the geographic database, but the maps are unchanged from BI 4.3, so they're the offline maps, and so there isn't the capability to have an online map, which also means you can't reach out to an online database and do geocoding on the fly as you could if it was online. So they have brought in a CSS editor. It's on the properties panel, but even it has a disclaimer that it may or may not be supported in previous versions. I think they're kind of giving us this so that we can do some tips and tricks that are not necessarily documented and give us the ability to control things that are not in the properties panel. Okay, next slide, please. Some other limitations, this first one you kind of expect with the widgets format, because it's intended to be a dashboard, you can only export one report and only its first page. But again, a good dashboard is typically only one report and only fits on one page, so that's not too bad. What's interesting is the widgets format is intended for everyone. It is completely disconnected from the business objects environment. And so if you were on a desert island or if you were going with Elon Musk to Mars, you would be able to open up your laptop, open up your widgets file, and be able to interact with the dashboard. The widgets format today is only supported on Windows, and you can use any browser that you like as long as it's Google Chrome or a browser that has the Chromium engine in it, such as Microsoft Edge. Now, you do have to use the new UI5 components. They were designed to be used offline, whereas the classic components were not. They were designed to be online and part of Webi. So to take advantage of widgets, you will have to design a document with the UI5 widgets. And also, the data set is static. And so if a user needs up-to-the-minute data, you need to send them another widgets file. So they're going to have to connect to something and download a new widgets file that has the new data. Print is not supported, and also the widgets format is not responsive. So and by responsive, we mean that the display adjusts depending on what kind of device you're using, and that should happen automatically without any intervention from the user. And so whether you're on a desktop or a tablet or a mobile phone, you want the dashboard to render accordingly. So in today's version of widgets, you need to pick a particular canvas that you're optimizing the dashboard for. Print is not supported, which is kind of an interesting limitation. We'll have to see if that's addressed later. And lastly, the widgets format is zipped up. So unzipping it's not really a technical challenge, but it can be a minimum of over 30 megabytes when unzipped. So there's quite a bit that is in the archive. So in the reporting side, like I've mentioned, the maps are largely a carryover, so we don't have online maps. And the widgets does not support the custom tooltip capability at this time, and we've already talked about responsiveness. Next slide, please. Now the DataMode, which I showed you, this is really something that we feel has no limitations to it, with the addition of functions, with the addition of local variables, and just the thoughtful user experience enhancements. This is really a great environment. And again, this is data cleansing and data blending in Web Intelligence. It's not a separate tool. It's available to all Web Intelligence users. And this is actually part of their strategy for dealing with some of the things that have been deprecated, which we'll talk about in a minute. Okay, now there is a business impact of moving to BI 2025. You may have seen or read that some of the technologies that are not as popular in the platform have been deprecated, and these are listed here. So the biggest one is BI 2025 is the first release of Business Objects that does not have the universe design tool, nor does it have support for the classic UNV universes. So that is probably the largest thing that organizations that still have UNV universes that they use, that's something that you're going to have to remediate before you upgrade. And I'm just going to allow you to read through some of the rest of these. And if you have questions about any of these, we'd love to talk to you further about remediation strategies for how to move forward and how to clean up your existing environment before you move to BI 2025.
All right, thank you, Dallas. Take some breath, have a glass of water. I'll do some talking now and I'll pass it back over to you in a second. So what we want to talk about next is N4V for WEBI. And we believe that BI 2025 makes web intelligence modern in today's analytics landscape. We also believe that N4V for WEBI is the ultimate web intelligence upgrade. And as you can see, some of SAP's competitors around WEBI are around this dial here. And if you're a current customer of ours, of N4V, looking to transition between 4.2 and 4.3 up to BI 2025, your investment in your current reports and dashboards will transition smoothly when you upgrade to BI 2025. If you're not currently a customer of ours, there is no need to wait until BI 2025 to enhance your reporting and dashboarding capabilities with N4V for WEBI. We ultimately believe that, and is represented there in the center, that the combination of BI 2025 and N4V for WEBI really is the best upgrade you could possibly have as far as web intelligence goes. And when we say that, let's just level set here, and I want to talk about what N4V for WEBI can do for you and your organization with respect to that ultimate web intelligence upgrade. So first, we really have 4 pillars of our solution. The first is the N4V widgets, and this integrates new data visualization components and navigation features, enabling advanced dashboarding in WEBI. Then we have the N4V maps, which allows the integration of online and offline maps and custom plans directly into WEBI. Our N4V analysis, which is really an advanced pivot table for in-depth data exploration. And finally, our N4V publisher, which is designed to distribute information outside of WEBI. So really the 4 key components of our solution. I think it's important that we all level set there. Now, why do we think this is a winning combination? There really are 7 key capabilities here that we believe are mission critical and talk about where we fit in business objects and so on. So as you can see, BI 4.2 and 4.3 limited with its features and functionality with respect to these 7 key capabilities. BI 2025 certainly making a lot better. However, when you're adding N4V for WEBI and BI 2025, you can see that you get a lot more feature and functionality based on the fact that you may, as an organization, want to move forward. So we do believe that we are a winning combination of SAP, BI 2025, as well as N4V for WEBI. So now that I've talked a little bit about that, about our solution, Dallas is now going to show us some of the things he promised to show us in the other demo around our solution. And I can see that Dallas has already taken my screen, so off you go, Dallas.
All right, thanks again, Warren. So if you've attended a previous webinar of ours, you may have seen a human resources dashboard and that we've constructed using our product, N4V for WEBI. And I'm going to be showing you that in just a moment. But first, I want to show you our HR dashboard as built with the UI5 components. So I really wanted to be able to dive in to the new capabilities of BI 2025 and see what's possible with the new elements in UI5. What the new navigation elements on screen can do for me. So this is the dashboard. As you can see here, it's completely rendered with the UI5 components. And so this has everything that an HR manager needs to see at a glance what's going on in the organization with regard to hiring, with how high the headcount is, what the breakdown is between people who are on site versus remote. They can see the department breakdown and the geographic breakdown of where their employees are located. They can also see the trends in hiring by gender. There's no age pyramid in UI5, so I've constructed a poor man's age pyramid here. I've taken the male gender and multiplied it by -1, so it'll give me that age pyramid shape. And we can not only see the gender breakdown, but we can see the gender breakdown with regards to race. And this is the new scrollable table. And you can see that the table is not just a table, but it can include some different representations of essentially a spark line as well. I've got navigation elements. And so, for example, I can look at 2020. And so there's a brief flicker while the dashboard filters. Again, I'm in Web Intelligence at the moment. And this can also be exported to widgets. And so that's really the other thing that I wanted to look at. And so I've done that as well. And so the widgets is Web Intelligence to go. It's completely disconnected. It's an offline use case, and that's important because some people, their job takes them to someplace where a Wi-Fi network or even great cell phone service is not guaranteed. And so the ability to have offline data, definitely is a use case that needs to be supported. And you'll see here that everything that I can do in UI5 in Webi can also be done in widgets. And so once again, just to show you the navigation, I can filter. I'm going to take a look at the engineering department, and I want to focus on engineers that are working on site at our headquarters. And you can see that the dashboard continues to update. Now, you may have noticed something. The color scheme here is a little different, and I used a custom color palette to design my dashboard, and that does not appear to, at the moment, be something that gets exported into the widgets. And so in the process of putting together this webinar, we have had a little chat with SAP, and they're going to look into my widgets that I'm going to send over to them. Okay, so this is the dashboard in widgets. Let me now show you the dashboard in with N4V Viz. And so let me just switch over here. Okay, so a lot of things are the same. We have our on-screen navigation. I've got a couple of drop-down controls, and the same types of charts, same type of interactivity, but I also have some different capabilities that we really feel bring Web Intelligence up to being not just a modern dashboarding tool with BI 2025, but also able to go toe-to-toe and with some of the other tools on the market. And this is really important to us because we feel that your data is really one of the most important things. And being able to leverage all the power that you have in your universes and the semantic layer, being able to take advantage of the scheduling that the BI platform has. These are features that some of the more quote unquote modern platforms really struggle with. And so Need4Viz takes the web intelligence that your users know and love and already know how to use and really brings it some new capabilities. And I know we're talking about BI 2025 today, but it's really important to note that our suite brings the same set of capabilities, whether you're still using BI 4.2, whether you're using BI 4.3, whether you're looking at moving to BI 2025, everything that we're talking about is achievable today. So you don't have to wait for BI 2025 just for some great features. You can add N4V to your existing suite. Now, some of the things that the new UI5 components cannot do that we can do in Need4Viz is we can drill down through a hierarchy. So, for example, as I look through my department, I can pick a particular department of interest, and I can drill down to the metrics by job title. I can have up to 5 levels of drill down, and I can change the sort order and the chart type as I go down through that drill path. I can do the same thing with my location. I'm going to click on Ohio, and I can see the different cities in Ohio, which is actually where I live, and I can see the breakdown of employees. Now, this is one of my favorite charts in our suite, and so this is our timeline control. One of the things I didn't point out about Web Intelligence is we actually had to put a filter on the Web Intelligence chart because it could only handle up to 500 data points. And you can see here that our chart handles all of the HR data from 2004 all the way up to 2024. So it does not choke on the quantity of data. And what's really great about this control is not only can I get precise values, but I can change the focus. So as a user, putting on my user hat, if I want to look in at 6 months of data, I can see a more fine distribution of the data. And if I have a lot of measures, I can actually even filter them out just by clicking on them. So for example, if I want to click on just the female employees and understand what's going on there, I can do that. So, so it's not just beautiful, it's interactive as well. We do have a true age pyramid, and this is great when you're looking not only at HR data, but for those of you who are looking at any kind of demographic data, age pyramids, the shape of the pyramid tells a story, and so that is one of our over 60 native components. You can see the gender, and then lastly, we also have our version of an HTML filter table, and so we're able to look at the diversity by race and gender and have some charts built into the table as well. Now, I want to draw your attention to the navigation. So remember, in the case for the UI5 chart, every time I changed the navigation element, I had to wait for a refresh. And we have introduced the new apply filter widget in our latest releases. And so that allows me to set all of my controls at once. So I'm going to go to engineering, and let's stick with headquarters. Okay, so notice that nothing's flickering, but also nothing is changing. But what that means is I can get everything set the way that I want it. And instead of flicker, 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 I click apply filters. And I get just, I get the data that I need, and I get it really quickly. Now, what I've shown you up until this point is our N4V widgets, which also includes our maps and our analysis components. All of those can be exported to HTML. And you are all invited to go to our homepage. And on our homepage, you'll see 3 links. We actually have a live BI 4.2 environment. We have a live BI 4.3 environment. You are welcome to log into those and actually interact with our product, with our samples. But I want to show you our N4V publisher catalog. And this has published to HTML all of our components. So all 60 of our widgets. So if you want to come in and look at our different widgets and interact with them and drill down with them, you can do that. We have gorgeous both offline maps, and we also have online maps from OpenStreet and Google that you can check out. We have our analysis, which includes our pivot table and data analyzer components. And again, all of these can be published into integrated dashboards. Now, we don't yet have our HR dashboard in this catalog. It's going to be published very, very shortly, but we do have some other examples of dashboards that I can show you. And I want to show you this dashboard that was created for a retailer. And so you can see that we've got summary KPIs, we've got drill down charts, we've got filterable tables. We also have some beautiful geographic maps, and they're not just beautiful, you can also drill down through them. And notice that when I drill down through one of my maps, that my other components, my table, and the OpenStreetMap, everything is synchronized and drills down as one big experience. The last thing that I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to send it back to Warren, is this HTML is also disconnected from BusinessObjects in your data source, but instead of being an offline use case, this HTML can be refreshed, and we use the same scheduling mechanism that the rest of BusinessObjects uses. So if your data updates every night with ETL process, that schedule pushes out fresh data to the HTML, and all your users need to know is a single bookmark that they can go to, and they can access up-to-date data. And it doesn't matter what kind of device they're on. So I'm on a desktop, and I'm going to resize my dashboard. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you. Okay, so there's desktop, and without me doing anything at all, if I shrink this down to a tablet size, you can see that the HTML is responsive to that size of a display, and I can go even further. So let's say I'm on a mobile device, on a phone, so everything goes into a single column, but all of the functionality is here. I have not lost anything. I've got all my tooltips, all my drill down, all my navigation elements, and notice that even the navigation element, it was responsive and went into a form factor that's more appropriate for this size of display. So that just showed you our HR dashboard, what we can do with UI5, but we also wanted to show you what how our Need for Viz suite brings some capabilities to any version of Web Intelligence that you're currently using.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dallas. One of the things I wanted to make mention is the export that you've seen that Dallas has done through our publishing solution is something that I get asked for when speaking to customers almost weekly and prospects. They're looking for that feature, how to take that information within Webi outside the subjects environment, and it's a question I get asked quite a bit. So Dallas, I'll give you just a second here to regroup, but I do want to, our next step here is to wrap up. We want to talk about some resources in Q&A. I'm looking at the time to be cognizant of the time. We do have some questions that I want to get to, but I do want to have you, Dallas, just share with us for just a second your overall thoughts on BI 2025.
Yeah, thank you, Warren. So there's really four things that I've latched onto out of all the information we've really presented today. And the first thing is what has not changed, and that is the universe semantic layer. It's powerful, and it is something that if you're like, we're not going to build this next project in Web Intelligence, we want to build it in something else. You're faced with how to do a data layer, and I've seen a lot of really bad data layers, really a lot of inflexible data layers. And so what BI 2025 offers you is the ability to, again, keep using the universes that your users know and love, and take advantage of all of the capabilities that you built into them. The next thing is modern data sources. So if you look at the platform availability matrix or the supported platforms document for BusinessObjects, you'll see that it includes not just traditionally on-premise databases, but also if you're using Google, if you're using AWS, you're using Redshift, even databases like Snowflake and Databricks, and there's many others that are on the platform list. So if your data is in the cloud, SAP BusinessObjects is there to support you. The productive UX. I hope you saw during my demos that the new quick access panel makes things that you do commonly, makes it a lot faster. The floating menus, and it's a bit of a discovery process, but even the workflows that you're used to doing, you'll notice that there's just been a little bit of extra polish put into it, and the ability to be even more productive. So, and lastly, the need for Viz solutions. So this really really addresses some of the capabilities in web intelligence, and particularly things like geographic maps, where customers will be like, I think maybe I ought to turn to another tool that's not an SAP product. We really have worked hard at closing the gap with beautiful, interactive, and useful widgets. And we hope, as I mentioned earlier, that you'll come to our website and look through the catalog and just see what kind of breathtaking dashboards you can do, again, with the web intelligence that you know and love.
Fabulous. Dallas, thank you. So what you've learned in today's webinar, I'll just put some bullet points up here. So we talked about BI 2025 at a glance. We talked about the new UX. We talked about the data mode, the report elements, the widgets format, as well as new reporting options that are available to you. We also talked about what's new and what's missing within BI 2025, some of the deprecated features and so on, the business impact moving to BI 2025. Dallas just shared with us some of its insights, as well as we believe that BI 2025 makes web intelligence more modern in today's analytics landscape as well. N4V for WEBI really is the ultimate web intelligence upgrade to your current WEBI intelligence environment. So Dallas did a great job of showing you our catalog off of our website. I wanted to throw this address up and this QR code up on the screen for those of you who are following along. If you've got your camera open and on your phone, you can take a QR code there, a picture of that, and get right to that. But just for your reference there. Also for your references, Dallas has put a number of SAP community articles together. These are just a few of them that he's put on there. We hope that you'll take the time and take a look at those. Some of our resources, obviously our websites, the demo environments that Dallas talked about, also our publishing demo, and the Need for Viz videos. Just to plug again, the videos is where the recording of this is going to be. So after this webinar is finished, we'll put the recording up on our video section, which you can get right off of our website. There's also some SAP BusinessObjects resources. These are SAP support portal articles that you can take a look at. So just don't take our word for what it is that we've told you as experts and having worked with it for over 60 days. In fact, we were one of the first adopters. We had this before it was released as well, as you can imagine, as an SAP partner. And please take a look at these resources and check them out. So getting to the Q&A time, I know that we've got 5 minutes. We may go slightly over depending on how many questions we have. But Dallas, are you ready to answer some questions?
Oh, sure. So
the first is Crystal Reports 2020 included with BI 2025?
Yes. So Crystal Reports with BI 2025 We got year synchronization going on. It's CR 2025 as well. I mentioned Crystal Reports 2020, which is part of BI 4.3, because that may be something that you need to use to do some UNV to UNX remediation. And it also is worth pointing out that Crystal Reports for Explorer is no longer supported, and Crystal Reports for Enterprise. I'm sorry. But everything has been baked into the later versions of Crystal Reports 2020 and 2025 to support you with one version of Crystal Reports.
Right. So the next question was, sorry, Dallas, what is replacing the universe layer? We had somebody from our question and answer section here answer this for us, but did you want to weigh in on this quickly?
Yeah. So BI 4.0, way back in the day, introduced a new universe format and a new universe design tool. So the information design tool builds universes with a UNX suffix, and there's also a conversion process. So while the classic universe format has been carried along all this time, it's not available in BI 2025. But if you've already converted to UNX universes, you're already good to go, and you can move to BI 2025.
Fantastic. Does BI 2025 or Need for Viz support drill through? So from a chart drill to detail. Traditionally, this is very cumbersome in business objects.
Yep. So we have over 60 widgets. Most of them are drillable. Typically about 5 levels of drill down. And if you remember when we were talking about the bar chart, we talked about how that the sort order and the chart type can actually be modified as you drill down to other levels. It does not require a hierarchy to be built in your universe. You just pick the up to 5 dimensions that you want in the order that you want them, and you're done. We do all the work for you, and it's definitely something that you cannot do with Web Intelligence alone.
Fantastic. Next question, is it possible to use formulas in the query filter? Example, current data, last month, etc.
That is a good question, and I'm going to
circle back to that one.
Yeah, we can circle back.
Let's circle back to that one. Okay. Does DataMode have incremental refresh capabilities similar to QuickSight Spice?
I am not personally familiar with QuickSight. So I don't know if one of our experts from Paris wants to weigh in audibly. I'm sure we've taken care of this question in the chat mode, though.
Okay, let's move on. When I want to migrate from 4.2, I have to use 4.3 or BI 2025. What's the difference between BI 4.3 and BI 2025?
Yep. So just to be clear, if you read the documentation, you can move from BI 4.2 to BI 2025. We don't recommend that, and there's 2 reasons for that. So the later versions of BI 4.3 introduce some enhancements to the universe conversion process. So we recommend, especially if you have universe conversion yet to do, that you upgrade to BI 4.3, even if that's a release that your users never see. Maybe that's something that you just do in the lab on your way out to getting to BI 2025. What's the difference between BI 4.3 and BI 2025? There's a couple of blogs you can read on the SAP community site, but largely the UI is similar between the two, with the exception of the quick access panel. And BI 4.3 does introduce a lot of enhancements that are not present in BI 4.2 if you're still using it. But again, the universe conversion is the best reason to first upgrade to BI 4.3.
As well, before we move on, that we have done a webinar last month, I believe, that addressed exactly that question So please head to our website, take a look at the videos, and you'll see that webinar recording there. Next question. Convert to UNX is easy process or have some problems? I'm guessing they're asking, is it an easy process? Yes.
So the answer is yes and yes. So the SAP provides tools for the conversion. And again, those have been the later versions of 4.3 do include some useful improvements to those. What is tricky is automatically converting not the universes, but all of your documents to point them away from UNV to UNX. What's built into Web Intelligence is you can do it one document at a time. Obviously, that does not scale. And so there are more than one partner solutions available to help you with this process. And so you might want to look to some of those. If you have either a sizable number of universes or reports, I would definitely look at making a third-party tool part of your upgrade plan.
All right, just one more. For the tooltip to show another object, like a graph, as demo, does the target object have to be shown, or can it be hidden or on another report?
I did not try hidden. However, it can be on another report. So I showed you everything on the same report just for convenience, but I could have had all of my quote unquote pop-up charts. You know, I could have had them on a separate report in the back end of my Webi document, and I could have referred to them from there.
Okay, one last question. Dallas, can we connect to SharePoint from BI 2025 and build UNX without using CATA connectors? And I've stumped you with that one.
So not sure of what you mean by building a UNX without using data connectors. Maybe you're talking about using SharePoint as a data source. So that might be something that if you want to follow up with us, via email, we can make sure that we get you the right information.
Fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know that we've gone slightly over time, and I do want to be cognizant of your time. You've asked a lot of great questions. I know that there were some questions that were in the chat. If we did not get to your questions and give you an answer, please reach out to myself or Dallas directly. Our contact information is on the screen in front of you. We would love very much to answer those for you. So on behalf of the team, we would like to thank you for your attention in attending our webinar today. As a reminder, we're going to be posting this webinar to our resources page of our website. That's right within the recording section. And for those of you that were here today, we'll be sending you a link after when we have finished. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to us. And we wish you the greatest rest of your day, whether it's the morning or the evening your time. So thanks to everybody, and we'll see you.
Thank you.
Hopefully next month and the future months with more webinars from N4V. Thanks, everybody.